Hello, Gypsy Spirit here with you again, and today we're still working on the tarot cards in reverse, and we are working on the numbers 3 and 4 in the tarot cards. Again, I'm still using my Alice in Wonderland cards, and we'll go ahead and get started. So now the number 3. Remember, in the 3 is about unity. The way I look at it is Father, Son, Holy Spirit, or mind, body, spirit. You can look at it that way, but it's a coming together, and sometimes it's a coming together not just with you but with other people. So we'll go ahead and look at that. The 3 of Wands in reverse. Now, when it's like this, it's like you've been waiting. You've done the work, but now you're waiting for your ship to come in. When I see it in reverse, it's telling me that you haven't quite finished doing what you need to do. There's still more work to be done on whatever project you're doing. For instance, my son is trying to buy a house. Well, he was trying to buy a house, and then he found out he couldn't get a loan. Due to his work history, even though he's got plenty of money. So then he went back to the drawing board, and he said he was going to rent, because we're all trying to move in together. I have 2 sons, grandchildren, and daughter-in-law, so we're all trying to get a house to move in together. And so my son was like, okay, we'll just rent a house until he can get a loan, which would be in the next year. So yesterday he sends me this text, he's gonna, try to rent this one house he's been looking at. And then, like, within 5 minutes, I get another text from him, like, never mind, I just had another offer presented to me. So now a friend of his brother-in-law, his wife's sister's husband, has offered to buy, put up the money, buy a house, and my son and the rest of us can make the mortgage payments. So his ship has not come in yet. There's still work in progress, is what I'm trying to say. The plan is there. Everything is kind of set. The seeds have been set, but now there's still work that he needs to do. There's still more things that he needs to look at before we actually see the ship come in. So that's what that would mean. Like, everything is on, of course we're on a time schedule, but there's still more work. There's still more planning before you can sit back and take a breath. And so that's what that means, that you're still in the working phase before you can wait for things to come together. The 3 of Pentacles means that, Pentacles is about money. So you've been working, trying to create how to make money, or making money, putting together a project, waiting for it to come together. And then all of a sudden with the 3, there's been like some unity, and all of a sudden it just like ended. You may have lost somebody. When I see the 3 of Pentacles, I see like there's a loss somewhere. Everything was going good, and then all of a sudden it ended. A good example, I guess, everybody knows that I'm in love with Robert Plant. Always have been since I was like 12 or 13. But anyway, yeah, when I see this card, I think of Led Zeppelin, because there was a time in the early 70s, up until like 79 or 80, I think it was 80. But anyway, they were together. They were a unit. They were traveling. They were making lots of money, making great music. They were all working together as a team, and it worked. It was good. It was magical. And then all of a sudden, their drummer died, and they made a decision they couldn't do this anymore. So that's what I mean. Like, so there was a loss. They lost somebody. And so when I see the Three of Pentacles and it's in reverse, as you can see here, it's like unity. They're all working together. And then all of a sudden, something happens where there's a loss that puts a damper on whatever it was you were doing to make money. It could be, like there was a time when vintage clothes, I'll use my business. I had a vintage clothing business, and it was very successful for 5 years. It was great, but there was that's when it was really trendy, and people were on the search for unique vintage clothing. There still are people that are looking for it, but it's not as big as it was back in the mid 2000s. So now if I were to open up a vintage clothing store, it would have to be a little different. So it just kind of died. People that are doing things like something that's like a real trendy fashion. Handbags were really big, unique handbags, like the Muru bags. And I was making handbags out of shoes. And I had reps all over the country selling them for me. And they were popular. They were doing good. But now it's not that's not where we're at. People are not trying to find the most unusual handbag. So that came to a stop. So the magic, I guess what I'm trying to say is like whatever magic there was that was creating money, and you were in unity with other people and you were creating money, it suddenly came to an end because of either somebody, like in Led Zeppelin's case, the drummer died, or maybe it just isn't what people want anymore, or things, it's changing. Things change all the time. So you have to change with it. The Three of Cups, same sort of thing. When you see here the Three of Cups, again, you see people in unity. Maybe some family and friends, they're in unity and everything is good. But whoa, something happened. There's a conflict here. There could be a loss of a family friend that's caused your emotions to be unbalanced. I think of maybe a death of somebody, or a relationship, friendship. If there's somebody that I have a friend who has come to me on many occasions for a reading, and one of the things that she has expressed is that a friend of hers who she was very close to and knew many, many, many years, and suddenly their friendship has broken up, and it has caused my client to be really emotionally drained and hurt over the situation, and she's still trying to figure out like what really happened and why things happened like they did. So that's when I see the Three of Cups, that's telling me that there was a disconnect with somebody, and your emotions are just everywhere trying to figure it all out. Your emotions are not happy. You're not in a happy place emotionally, due to the loss of the friendship, relationship, whatever. The Three of Swords. Well, this is actually a good card. I don't like this card when it's this way, because it is of heartbreak. Somebody's getting ready to hurt you. You're getting ready to have a heartbreak that's going to like throw you to the ground. But when I see it in reverse, it tells me that yes, you were heartbroken. There was something that happened that broke your heart very badly, and it just like knocked you down, and it created such a conflict in your life. But when I see the Three of Swords in reverse, it tells me that you're getting over the conflict, that It's over and done. And now you're on the way of healing. It's just, you're trying to take it one day at a time in the healing. Sometimes when something happens to us, it just like blows us away. Um, it takes us, we go through that phase where, like I was saying, we think about it morning, noon, and night, and we just can't get it off our minds. And now you're beyond that. You're not thinking about it morning, noon, and night. And you're starting to get a little bit of clarity, not a lot, because it's a time thing. Healing takes time, but you're on the right course. And that's what the Three of Swords is all about, that you're finally getting to a point where you can start finding some healing. And it's going to take some time. So now we're on to the fours. That was the threes, so we'll do the fours. So we have the Four of Wands. We'll look at first. Now, remember, in four, the four is about like you've accomplished some things, or you may become kind of restless with something, but you've come far. You've started something, so the four is still kind of like in the beginning, because then, you have the ace, the two, the three, now the four, and you're moving right along. Things are moving. When we see the Four of Wands in upright like this, yeah, look, I mean, she's built a house of cards. It doesn't mean that she's finished. It just means that she's made some accomplishments and she's taken a little break because she's pleased with herself, and it's time to celebrate how wonderful things have been and how far she's gotten. But when we see it in reverse, it's not time to celebrate. But with the Four of Wands in reverse, like sometimes you'll be working on something and you're just working and working, working. And all of a sudden the thought, the movie The Shining, no work and all play makes Jack a dull boy. That was in that movie. Yeah, it's like you're working and working and you're not really seeing any accomplishment. And the reason why you're not seeing any accomplishment is because you're really getting bored with the mundane. And this card is telling you, break it, get out and play a little bit, because you're just going to keep spinning your head or spinning around in circles like a chicken with your head cut off. And the more you keep doing and doing and doing and waiting for that magical moment, it's not going to come, because you just keep putting all your effort and time, and you're growing tired. And so you got to take a little break. That's what this means. Four of Pentacles. Now, when I see the Four of Pentacles, yes, it was also about having a break. I guess four is about taking a break, but Pentacles is, maybe they've spent so much money and now they're kind of remorseful about it, or they're having some thoughts about maybe I shouldn't have spent so much money. And I'm always, when I see Pentacles, I think of it on a business end, but it could also be personal as well. But when I see it in reverse, it's telling me that you've taken your losses, you've cut your losses and moved on. So you're not feeling remorseful or guilty. You've dealt with it, and now you're ready to move on. You can only beat yourself up for so long. So that's that. The Four of Swords, again, conflict. When I see it upright like this, it means, yes, you're taking a break from the conflict that you needed to take a break from so that you could get some clarity. But with the Four of Swords in reverse, it's telling me that you are resisting. It's like the answer is right there in front of you, and it's like you are completely resisting moving forward because you're not allowing yourself to take the time to meditate. You keep wrapping your head around it and you're not getting the clarity, and from that it makes you crazy. Sometimes it makes us think irrationally and maybe even do irrational things. So this card is telling you, stop it already. You got to take some time to not think about this anymore, and take some rest that you're not taking. The Four of Cups, again, cups is in, emotions. You see, anytime you see the cups, there's always going to be a lot of water around and everything. I also, before we go on to this, I want to go back to the Four of Swords. So again, remember I told you really have to listen to your client and see what they're saying. Listen. That's the key into tarot reading. But when I see this also, this could also mean something else. I just told you that it meant that the person is not getting the rest that they need, that they're restless in their minds over the conflict. But it depends. Now, again, listen to what the person is telling you, because this could also mean that they have rested and they've gotten the answers that they need from the conflict that they've been in. It's again, you really have to look at all the cards and you have to listen to the client. When I first look at this card, I see it in the way that they're not taking the break that they need. They have to rest. And their mind is becoming very bored, and not get their mind is becoming bored because they keep replaying the scenario over and over in their heads, and they're not seeing what they need to see. But it also can mean, again, looking at the rest of the cards, it could also mean that they have received the clarity that they need. Again, look at the cards, read the cards, listen to the person, what they're telling you. Four of Cups also. Now, your emotions are scattered everywhere. When I see the cups and it's in reverse like this, something that has hurt you emotionally, you've not healed from, and you're feeling like the victim, you're feeling like somebody did you dirty and you're having a hard time healing from the situation. You're not looking like, when I see it upright like this, I see the dolphin in the background with a cup, and there's so much healing there, but the person is not willing to listen or to receive the healing because they're so focused more on their feelings and how they've been hurt, and playing the victim game as well. And again, just like the Four of Pentacles, just like the Four of Swords, this card could also be the opposite. You got to listen and look at the cards. It could also mean that, yes, this person finally has gotten, they're done with the healing that they needed to get. They've listened and they're ready to move forward. But I'm going to look at it first in the way that they haven't done what they needed to do, that their emotions are still hanging on to those emotions, those negative emotions, negative thoughts and behaviors. They're not willing to make the changes, and they're feeling like, poor pitiful me, the victim. That is the first thing I'm going to see when I see this card. But in talking to the client or looking at the other cards, it might read the other way. It depends on you and what you're seeing. So always trust your instincts. There are many times when I will be reading for somebody and all of a sudden I hear that little voice say something. And you wonder, should I tell them this? Do I trust it? Yes, trust it. One time I was reading for this woman, and I wasn't doing the cards. I was just doing some mediumship with her. Her daughter had passed away, and I never knew her daughter. I didn't really even know this woman. I knew her from social circles, but I didn't know her. But I knew their daughter had passed away, and she was having a hard time with it. And so I was talking to her, and the word Joshua, or the name Joshua, kept coming up, and I kept hearing that in my mind. And I said to her, I said, I keep hearing the name Joshua. And she said, yeah, her daughter's best friend, or her brother, her stepbrother, his name was Joshua, and she called him Josh. And so there was more that I was getting from the reading, but because sometimes you're afraid that if you say something, you might be hearing it in your mind, your intuition, and you're doubting yourself because you're thinking, am I going to sound like an idiot if I tell this person this or whatever? And it's okay. Just put it out, because 9 times out of 10, whatever it is you're saying, there is some truth. There's a connection with that person. Long time ago, I was helping this guy, and his mother kept coming to me. And so I did some mediumship work with him. And we were sitting down at a fire and just talking. And my stepmother's name is Gloria Elizabeth. Her first name was Gloria, Elizabeth was her middle name. And she came to my mind for some reason, and this is a woman I don't have anything to do with, but for some reason she came to my mind. And I asked the guy, I said, was your mother's name Gloria? And he said, no, it was Elizabeth. So, I mean, I had it right, but the middle name, it was my stepmother's middle name. That was his mother's name. So I had it right, just a little off a little bit. So it's okay. Just tell them, come out with whatever pops in your head. Go with it, because 9 times out of 10, there's some sort of truth to it. So go with it. Anyway, I hope this helps. We're going to be doing 5 and 6 next. So stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye.